Welcome to Crafty Hints. I'm Chantel. Happy New Year to you. Here's some quick DIYs for Valentine's Day that are very budget friendly. You can reach me on my social media here. Let's get crafty. For this one, you can either cut out of cardboard a heart. I used a wood heart from Dollar Tree and then painted it in plaster. And then I went in and painted the back of some puzzle pieces from the Dollar Tree as well. I bought one of the puzzles that had 48 pieces in there. I'm sorry, I guess I edited that out, but it has 48 pieces, so they're the larger piece puzzles. So I painted about, I want to say there was 11 or 12 in white. And then I divided up the rest in crimson and ballet slipper that are also by Waverly. I just like the coverage of Waverly's chalk paints. You can usually use one coat and you're good to go. So they're pretty easy to paint. I found if I held an end and then I just kind of let them dry and went back then and painted where my finger was, that was the easiest way to do them. So little crafty hint there. Okay, now I'm just kind of spacing them out. How am I going to want them? And now I'm going to glue them down. So I decided that I was going to put some of the pink and some of the red down first, because obviously we have the plaster in the background. If you put the plaster on it, you're not going to see it. So I kind of staggered the puzzle pieces so that different points are kind of sticking out or a flat edge, and just went around the edges of this heart. Now, if you're using that cereal box like I was going to cut out a heart and then cut out the center and make it kind of like, I guess, kind of like a wreath. And then you could put your puzzle pieces around that if you didn't have a heart sign. So that would be another way to do it. And now I'm just going in with my second layer and I'm using a lot of the plaster pieces. Now, there isn't a perfect way to do this, of course. Whatever your heart desires, so to speak, you could do for this. And you know what the colors you want. If you wanted this just pink and white, there's so many different ways to do this. I don't know if you remember back in the fall, but I also used the puzzle pieces to make a pumpkin. So they're just kind of fun and versatile. My sister, who is a kindergarten teacher, also has made the puzzle Christmas trees. So those are a fun one too. All right, now I'm just going in and adding another layer on top of that white. It has so many fun kind of, I don't know if you want to call that textures, but it just draws your eyes in. Now, you could write this out with some paint pens. You could also print this out if you wanted to and do the pencil on the back and then trace it. So many different ways you could do this. Oh, you could also print it on tissue paper, Mod Podge that in, and then put the puzzle pieces around it. I used my Cricut because it was there and handy. Everyone's busy with the holidays, and so this one, I had to kind of fit it in, along with some of, I think I've told you guys my videos have been much shorter, just due to some back issues that I've been having and trying to get back in shape with there. Okay, so this is going to say, "Love you to pieces." And this is the font I love to use a lot. I think it's called Raustila, Raustila, and you can find it at dafont.com. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Then you could use ribbon or, any twine you'd like. I used some baker's twine to put that back in there. Isn't that adorable? It's the first of the month, so we've got our collab with Brenda and Amanda again, as well as our playlist. Love is in the Air is the theme. Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY is our host. Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun and myself are the co-hosts. So go subscribe to those ladies if you haven't, and the playlist will be below. Hippie Crafter reached out to me to see if I wanted to try some of their products, and this is their epoxy resin and hardener. It gives you great instructions here. It's just half and half. They gave me some great wipes that work well with the resin, as well as some of these molds. There was 6 different molds in there, but you can kind of flip the molds over and it makes more. You've got a square, you've got so many different shapes, and then there were some stirs. Now, I'm not great at measuring, so I decided that I didn't even get any in there yet. So I'm going to zero out this with the cup on there so that, it doesn't have to count that. And I want to use exactly the same amount of resin that I use of hardener. So if you wanted to use like a measuring spoon or a measuring cup, just know that you probably won't be able to use it again after this. But I decided to use a scale because I already had it on hand. So I'm just going to make sure I have the exact same amount. And then I just use these little disposable cups in the party area. They're just some tiny little ones. And then what I will do is you put those and you mix them together very slowly, trying to not stir up more bubbles. It looks like I'm stirring so fast, but I sped this up to like 5 times as fast. So you want to stir it nice and slow, trying to not cause bubbles, and just making sure you get it all out so that it sets properly, because you want it that half to half ratio. Okay, so I set that aside for a second, and now I grabbed some of this glitter from the Dollar Tree. It has it had like 6 packages of this very fine glitter, and it was in their crafter square. And I'm going to put that with a little bit of the epoxy. So there was a little bit of it that I put in this cup. And so I'm just going to continue and mix this together. And as you can see, I've got a mold right there, and I'm going to make a bookmark. And then there's this big, that one's for like a coaster. So if you flip it over, it's for a coaster, but there's a little circle. And I thought I might make a keychain out of that if I had some extra left. Guys, I'm just going to warn you, this is addicting. And there are so many molds out there. You want to check out Hippie Crafter's site, as well as, your local craft stores, because there's so many neat things that you can do. Now, I had these little hearts that I've used before with my faux whipped cream. And so I mixed that with some of the clear resin. If you're going to incorporate something like that, you want to put it in with the resin so it doesn't, if you just threw them in there, it would cause more air bubbles. But if you put it in with the resin, it works better and doesn't cause as many air bubbles, because you want that as clear as possible. So this is my very first try at it, guys, and it's addicting, and I'm going to have to buy more. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, or if you've tried it before, oh my goodness, tell me about your favorite thing that you use it for. I know there's tumblers and things like that too that you could do. Oh my goodness, what have they gotten me into? All right, I'm going to put these hearts in, and I'm going to kind of place them, just stagger them around so they're not all right on top of each other. Maybe space out the colors a little bit. And I put that glitter resin at the bottom. So I'd poured some of the resin in first. I'm putting the hearts on top of that, and just making sure that they're in there nicely. And then I can put the rest of my resin on top of that. And that's what I've done. And I'm going back and just making sure I'm popping any of the air bubbles. I don't think I showed this, but what you also want to do is go back with a lighter or you can spritz like 80 or 90% alcohol on top of it, like rubbing alcohol, and that'll pop the bubbles. But yeah, just going back and forth over it really carefully with a lighter. I let this set for 24 hours. It's still a little bendy. Like if I would move it just too far, it would be a little bit bendy. So it doesn't fully cure 100% for a week, but it's pretty solid. I grabbed some embroidery floss and I'm just going to make a tassel, but look at that. Isn't that neat? It just looks like those hearts are floating. I thought this would be a sweet thing to put with a Valentine. If you like this bookmark, put a heart down there below for me and just let me know. Maybe I'll do, a couple other things like this. Okay, I wrapped that floss just around a plank, and now I just want to tie that off. So I just doubled over some floss, and now I'm going to tie this. I think I did just a slip knot around it. And then, you'll just wrap it around there. This is definitely not the best tutorial to make a tassel. I haven't made one. It feels like with jute twine and things, it's so easy to do, but I don't know why I felt like I was all thumbs doing this one, but it turns out just fine. I think it's pretty. All right, now we're just going to snip those right in half. And I decided to fold it down over my little knot so that I will have it nice and long there for my bookmark. All right, now I'm just going to, I did another slip knot around this so I could go around it and just kind of double those as I go around. And then I'll just wrap it nice and tight, and then I'll tie it off and just kind of tuck that under and then trim those down with the rest of them and make sure my tassel looks nice and neat. Now you can also buy tassels for bookmarks on Amazon, so you can check that out, but don't forget to check out their site. They just let me try it out, but they have a lot of other craft products, and they're a small family company. And so, I like to try and support those, trying to make a start as well. So here it is. Isn't that pretty? Oh my goodness, those hearts are just floating. I love them. I think this will make a great bookmark. All right, this is the last DIY. I found this wood bead wreath at the Dollar Tree, and then I had these flowers from Michael's, and they came on this long strand, and first I thought I'd have to snip them off, and then I find that they'll just pop off. So I popped them all off real quick, and now I want them to all attach together. I had so many different ideas for this. You could paint the wood beads. You could leave them natural like I did. I thought about going with roses. I thought about wrapping with ribbon. And it just felt like this was going to be a little bit of simple elegance. So I started to glue them together. And that was pretty easy to do, and just kind of figuring out how long I want it. And then when there's a little bit of bare spots, because there were somewhere these little, I don't know, ball flowers popped off. And so I just took some from the others and glued them back in place just to make sure it looked nice and full. You could probably use like some E6000 or something if you wanted to kind of stop the beads from moving, because that was a little bit of the struggle that I had. Some of the, it would kind of roll around as I was trying to glue them down. So that might be a good idea. Every few beads, maybe just add a little bit of that. Or maybe even a little bit of wood glue so the wood beads stick to each other. But all right, so once I figure out exactly where I want to start, I kind of get that going and then just a dab of glue as I go along. And just kind of twisting this to see, what side of the beads you want it on. And you can kind of pinch it in between the beads if you want to. You can see I kind of pulled those apart because I decided that I wanted to make sure I could pull this a little bit more taut. But I kind of liked that you have pinks, you have reds, you have a little bit of green. It was just so sweet. I even had some pretty ribbon from the Dollar Tree with hearts that I thought I was going to use. Didn't use any of it. I guess I'll have to do another Valentine's Day DIY. Okay, I had this left over from last year. They're all of the metal words for Valentine's Day. There was XOXO, love, and Valentine, and I decided to go. All right, and just keep twisting and gluing there. And then I got some fishing line. And I thought this would look neat if I had the love kind of floating in the center of the heart. Now, of course, you could attach it any way you want, but I tied it on the L and in the E, and then I just hung it from the top, and I kind of just kept, how when you were a kid and you threw the swing over the top of the bar to make it shorter? That's kind of what I did. I started out longer, and then I rolled it over the top a couple of times and ended up making it just a little bit shorter, but this also makes it so that you can make sure that they're level. So I just wrapped it around 1 or 2 times and then tied it off. And then afterwards, that's when I kind of threw it over the top. It's funny how it brings back memories like that, isn't it? So yes, just keep pulling it until you get it level. I guess I like that illusion of things floating in this video. It's kind of fun. So you'll have to let me know below which is your favorite. And if you're enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up. That will let YouTube know that maybe someone else would like to watch it. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to be notified when I release videos, hit that bell and it will let you know when I release a video. All right, we're just finishing it up. I glued, like I said, there was a couple areas that were a little bit more sparse. I kind of pinched some of those together and just made sure everything looked nice. I just included a few leaves to add a little bit more greenery. And here we are. I'm sorry, my bathroom shelf did not have the best lighting there. And from a distance, you can't see that really at all floating, but I wanted to give you a few close-ups. Thank you so much for watching, and happy Valentine's Day. Don't forget to take some time for you to do a little bit of crafting. Hit your craft stores and your Dollar Tree. They're coming out with your Valentine's DIY equipment. Bye, guys.